presidents, deans, and all distinguished guests. It is my great honor and privilege to welcome all of you to the opening ceremony of the 7th Annual APAIE International Education Conference and Exhibition at Mahidol University, Riverside Campus. I am Chayanan Hongfa from Mahidol University, and I will be your MC for today. Asia Pacific Association for International Education, or APAIE, was established in 2004 under the leadership of Professor Du Hee Lee. The mission of APAIE is to achieve greater cooperation among those responsible for the international education and internalization in the Asia Pacific institution and promote the quality of international programs, activities, and exchange for the harmony and advancement of the Asia Pacific region. In order to achieve this goal, the 7th Annual APAIE Conference and Exhibition will last from April 4th to April 6th and consists of 115 presentations and 164 speakers from over 40 countries. As your host institution of this conference, Mahidol University strongly shares the vision of APAIE. The very name of our institution was inspired by the work of His Royal Highness Prince Mahidol of Songkhla, the father of His Majesty the King of Thailand, who is widely considered to be the father of modern medicine and public health in Thailand. The theme of APAIE 2012 is University Social Responsibility for the Benefit of Mankind. Illustrate this commitment perfectly and echo the philosophy of our namesake, Prince Mahidol, that true success is not in the learning, but in its application to benefit of mankind. Now, we would like to show you all a little bit about our institution with this short presentation. with no further delay, let me invite on stage for the welcoming remarks, the founder and current president of APAIE, Professor Du Hee Lee.
High technology, I'm sorry. Swadika. Welcome to the 7th APAIE conference hosted by Mahidol University. As the president of APAIE, it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome you to what promises to be yet another successful milestone in the progress of our ever-growing organization. On behalf of all of us present, I would like to extend our deepest appreciation and respect to our host president, Rajata, and his team for their magnificent effort and hospitality. Thank you very much. Indeed, the previous 6 conferences collectively took us on the grand tour of Asia-Pacific region, from East Asian nations of Korea, Japan, China, to Singapore, Australia, and permanently to Taiwan. Now, we are adding Thailand to our itinerary. For this journey, we should thank our tour guides, the universities, and tour operators, the APAIE Secretariat at Korea University. Our journey, however, is more of wisdom than geography. In the course of our conferences, we have acquired the wisdom of embracing change. To this wisdom, we can now add the motivating power of social responsibility of universities for the benefit of not only our own region, but all humanity for. No person is an island, and the same holds true for all regions. Now, what we have gained, wisdom and strength, it is now time to start contributing. Zhou Donai, the founder of Chinese Neo-Confucianism in the 11th century, opined, sincerity is the foundation of wisdom, and sincere thought ought to be reflected in action. As is oft said, action speaks louder than words. As the 15th century Korean philosopher E. Yulgok elaborated, if one practices with all one's strengths, one can reach efficiency and then obtain results. Holding together knowledge and action, uniting what is internal and external, one enters the ground of wisdom. Without sincerity, one cannot establish one's will. Without sincerity, one cannot reach the deep understanding of principles. And without sincerity, one cannot change one's physical disposition. To the last line, may I add one trepidation at altering these immortal words, that without sincere wisdom, one cannot change one's world. To tap into and draw from, innovate and develop this wisdom, multinational teaching, learning, and research is vital, and APAIE has and will continue to serve as a venue for the creation of more profound wisdom. 6 years ago, in 2006, when I assumed the presidency, I defined the letters APAIE to mean aspire, participate, achieve, innovate, and educate. Your presence here today bears testimony to the attainment of these aims. Over the past 6 conferences, our themes have emphasized trends and changes, the renaissance of higher education, what's next, developing leadership and enhancing harmony, educating for extremes, educating for global changes in a rapidly changing world, and impacting the world. Over past 6 years, in our role as regional education mentors, we have been fostering the leaders of tomorrow through the Asia Pacific Leaders Program. In the past years alone, 50 students have been mentored through our APL program. Of this, we can be well and truly proud. So far, we have provided a venue for regional discussions, and now we are one of the world's 3 leading multilateral fora for education and pedagogy. In just 6 short years, we went from infancy to adulthood. Now it is time to infuse university's social responsibility for the benefit of humanity. As adults acquire or should acquire wisdom, APAIE must become wisdom builders for humanity. In short, it should acquire to become a council of elders, figuratively, of course, where we transcend the gap between discussion and creation, between theory and practice. Currently, the global society is facing its greatest rate of change in its history, and none can claim to know the future direction that pedagogy and education must take. However, it is clear that a revolution in higher education is called for. However, the current institutional focus on university rankings, number of publications, and fierce competition to attract quality students, scholars, and donors cannot offer the way forward. Rather than single-mindedly pursuing such narrow short-term quantitative goals, qualitative longer-term perspectives must be considered. There needs to be, thank you very much. Thank you. There needs to be nothing else than a new paradigm shift, one that integrates fundamental human aspiration of wisdom with the concepts of academic theory, frameworks, and empirical research. To accelerate this paradigm shift, APAIE can serve as a pivotal juncture to infuse wisdom into academia. This integration is an appropriate role for APAIE to assume, given Asia's long fascination with and tradition of seeking wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge and creation curved from our collective experience. Such forms of collaboration, the Asia Pacific Leaders Program, being an excellent example, offers the way forward in our ever more closely interwoven world. And now, from this conference onward, my worthy successor, Professor Gordon Chung and Professor Uchida, will carry the torch and assume the lead of APAIE as it progresses. Not that I will be abandoning the effort, for I shall continue on the board in my role as honorary president. In closing, I must thank you all most profoundly and sincerely for the great confidence you have shown me personally, and state how proud I am to have served you. I look forward to supporting my successor and you in the years to come. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับ
Thank you, Professor. Please join me in welcoming our current host, Mahidol University President, Professor Lachata Navin, to keep a few remarks.
Your Excellency, Professor Emeritus Kasem Wattanachai, Professor Dohili, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Mahidol University, the host of this year's APAIE conference and exhibition, it is my great pleasure to inform you that this event has brought together altogether almost 1,000 people, including several hundred higher education professionals. The guiding theme of this conference is University Social Responsibility for the benefit of mankind. Over the next few days, we will have the opportunity to join a global discussion on how our knowledge, expertise, and human capital can address the complex challenges facing our world. Under the conference three sub-themes of educational system development, student and university staff development, and university and society. We look forward to examining issues such as quality assurance, bringing universities and the communities closer together, and the forthcoming launch of the ASEAN community. We will also hear from Mom Rajawong Disnadda Diskul, Secretary of the Mapha Luang Foundation under the Royal Patronage, and Dr. Guang Jo Kim, Director of UNESCO Bangkok, who will deliver keynote addresses. I'm certain that their wealth of experience will be invaluable asset during this conference, and I would like to thank them for their valuable contributions. I also encourage you to visit our exhibition, where international education institutions and companies are waiting for you to meet you. I would also invite you all to view the special exhibitions that Mahidol University has created in honor of His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej's 84th birthday celebration and the 120th anniversary of the birthday of His Royal Highness Prince Mahidol. This can be found on the first floor of this building, and I encourage you all to visit and learn more about Their Majesty's significant contributions to the well-being of communities across Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all honored that you could join us. Once again, I would like to welcome you to Mahidol University and APAIE 2012 conference and exhibition. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me invite on stage for the opening remarks, the Privy Councillor of Thailand, His Excellency Mr. Kasem Wattanachai.
Professor Lee Dodi, President of the APAIE, Professor Rachata, President of Mahidol University, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to be with you today to preside over the opening of the APAIE 2012 conference and exhibition. Every APAIE conference is unique. It's the expression of culture of the host university and the country. This year is no exception. The theme for this year is, as you know, University Social Responsibility for the benefit and the happiness of mankind. We will examine how universities can continue to make positive contributions to the society all over the world. Universities influence the development and well-being of society by creating and sharing knowledge and innovations, by developing leaders for future society. However, the Prince Mahidol University urged all of us to go further. I believe university can lead the way by actively tackling the complex problems that the world continues to face. These global issues often do not conveniently adhere to the traditional academic categories or contained within any national borders. Therefore, a multidisciplinary and international approach is required, one that takes advantage of globalization, advances in social media, and the formation of regional networks of universities. With this in mind, I hope that over the next 3 days, we will be able to share our experiences and help bring even more benefits to our local communities, to our countries, and to the world. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now declare open the APAIE 2012 conference and exhibition. I wish the conference every success. Thank you.
In this opening session, we received great honor from Mom Lachwong Disnadda Diskul, Secretary of the Mae Fa Luang Foundation under the Royal Patronage, to be our keynote speaker this morning. Mom Lachwong Disnadda Diskul graduated from Indiana University at Bloomington with a degree in business administration. He has received an honorary PhD in agricultural science and social science from Mahidol and Mae Fa Luang University in Thailand accordingly. In the term of his work experience, he served as a private secretary to Her Royal Highness Sri Nakalintra, the late Princess Mother, mother of His Majesty the King of Thailand, for over 28 years. With his profound knowledge in the field of sustainable alternative livelihood development, he is a recipient of numerous awards and was appointed to run a leading role in many organizations and companies. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here among a promising group of leading education professionals from all over the world. I'm not the type of person who you would call a person of high education. At 72 years of age, most of what I have to share is the university of life, my hands-on experiences accumulated through a lifetime of mistakes and just a few successes. But I had a great coach. 45 years ago, I was provided with opportunity to serve the King's late mother. And it was then that I learned her development philosophy. The King's mother founded the Mae Fa Luang Foundation in 1969 to increase the income of the Hill tribe people in the north support the Hill tribe's efforts as economic development through the production and sales of their unique handicrafts. The foundation later expanded its work to include social empowerment and the preservation of nature through a variety of innovative programs of livelihood and human development that I had the honor to manage for her. It is on this experience that I build my presentation to you today. Many of you here may think that education and rural development are two different tracks, each leading to different outcomes. But if you look a bit deeper, you will see that they are both, in fact, originated from the same core, that is, people. And both share the same cause, which is to build knowledge and capability in people at a variety of levels, so that they will be able to lead productive lives and to be responsible global citizens. Education is a form of human development where teachers provide the basic tools for students with knowledge, ability, and conscience and conscience for them to help themselves. But that's not enough, not any longer. They need to help improve society at large as well. And that's where university social responsibility came in. It is time we produce graduates who can help save the world, his and her world, and the world of the people around him or her. Thank you. Often, success in educational institutions is measured mainly by the number of graduates admitted into the job market or by the numbers who successfully graduated. As a sector, universities have been preparing a large workforce for the private sector, a sector that focuses mainly on economic growth. Just look at the Forbes 500 lists and the Time magazine's 100 most influential people. The majority of those hit parade lists are those who ask or who have succeeded, where the measurement of success is directly expressed by money and status. As society, we are taught to want, take, and to want more and more and more, and to worship the gods of plenty. I'm not blaming any individual. We are all, as society, collectively to blame, for we are living in the era of radical capitalism. Every action we take, we expect a return of some sort, whether in cash or in assets. We measure success based on how much we have acquired. But this is where the friction points in our society start, and where our inherent social conscience fades. Universities are the community dedicated to educating and equipping students with useful knowledge, outlook, and values that are truly useful to society. But are we producing enough good quality graduates with the hearts to help those who are less fortunate than you? What are the reasons behind all this? Let me tell you about our 3Gs model. Note that we invented the 3Gs model long before Mr. Apple, Steve Jobs. First, G is greed. Greed is part of human nature. Second, growth. Continued growth is the goal of the day. Individuals constantly seek to acquire a high salary, a better car, a bigger house, while companies attempt to generate more profits by devising creative advertisement to fuel consumers' desires. Governments care solely about the overall number of goods and services reflected by GDP. But let us pause for a second and ponder if that growth truly impacts on the quality of life of the general population. Our third G is the global imbalances we see today are, as I believe, the direct result of centuries of greed and overconsumption. The natural resources are depleted to meet the growing demand. Countries and companies are growing at the expense of nature and at the expense of the poor, who constitutes 4 billion of the world population that earn less than $2 a day. The socio-economic gap between the super rich and the poor is widening further and further. Such inequality and the resultant social divide have been part of the recent riots all over the world. The monetary divide has impacted the US, Spain, Greece, the UK, France, and Europe as a whole. And when we combine with political repression, it's even more potent, as we have seen in the Arab Spring. Even in my own country, Thailand has not escaped this trend either. Let me share with you this similar problem I saw firsthand 25 years ago in Doi Tung, a mountain in Chiang Rai, the northernmost province of Thailand. In 1987, it was plagued with social and environmental problems. We inherited bare hills and a dramatically degraded environment caused by shifting cultivation and lack of agricultural knowledge and techniques. Opium was the only real source of income and the only available medicine, providing only 7 months of food for the family. The rest of the year, they had to pick to eat, or else people had to turn to producing opiates, heroin, drug abuse, and drug trafficking, of course. Then human trafficking, selling daughters into sex industry, and as a result, its partner, HIV. Insecurity and deteriorating social structure prevailed. Our first lesson was that such social ills were just symptoms. The root cause is poverty and lack of opportunity. Of course, in such an environment, there are criminal elements that egg on and support the drug and opium trade. But basically, we believe that the ordinary farmer just wants a life. He is fundamental, not a criminal. Came along the lady declaring, "I will reforest Doi Tung." The king's mother initiated the Doi Tung development project, whose mission is to help the community to help themselves, so that ultimately, without us, the people will be able to continue their own development up in the socio-economic ladder. But the development is complex. There's neither a fixed solution nor an instant cure. We do not know it all. Imposing solutions made in our Bangkok office will never work. It requires humility and open-mindedness, and the ability and willingness to feel, to listen, and to learn from the community. So in order to understand their custom and culture from the outset, our staff conducted dozens of village meetings, even very late into the night. We walked the hills, live, eat with people in the community, studying their environment, their inherent wisdom, knowledge, and customs, and through that, we could look into the issues through their eyes. Working together this way, we achieve a level of collaboration which enable us to start the project, and with them, we develop a common view and ownership of the program from day one. To be successful, we had to make the community part of the solution and not to consider them as part of the problem. The key is communication, communication, more communication. Participation, participation, and participation. Since we look for sustainable solutions, our ultimate objective has to be to help people to help themselves. This is achieved in several phase stages that we call the 3 S's model. The first S is for survival. We have to rapidly ensure they have enough to eat the whole year round. And it also means knowing where the next meal is coming from. This usually involves what we call some quick hits, very tangible results that are immediately visible to the community. In addition to building trust, they provide a launching pad for the rest of the program. That brings us to the second S, the sufficiency stage. Here there is a clear increase in living standards that we can and have measured. Most importantly, in the phase, the community has paid off their debts and is becoming self-reliant. They start to have enough. In the final S, for true sustainability, they have become fully independent to run their own lives and to plan for the future of their children. That is what we call truly sustainable alternative livelihood development. We do not work alone. It means bringing all stakeholders, the central government, the local authorities, and the community themselves, to participate in and own the project. Against them, clear understanding, communication, and participation from each member are keys to success. Then we can bring in experts, knowledge, techniques to make the project effective. The first step of our development process is called quick hit strategy. To earn the people's trust, to solve their immediate problems, and to prove that we work for their advantage. The Doi Dung people had no Thai citizenship and constantly lived in fears as fugitives. Empathy and recognition are two important tools. So we issue non-legal Doi Dung ID cards, household registrations, and land deeds. They now felt they were part of the development and took charge of the work themselves. The next quick hit strategy was to hire ex-opium growers to work as forestry workers, digging holes and planting seedlings and earn cash payment daily, which was 3 times more than they had earned from opium cultivation. Economy starting to roll while nature starting to revive. More than that, we started to invest in an economic forestry project that would outlive the first forestry phase. We planted coffee under forest because shade-grown coffee trees produce better quality coffee beans. This way, the coffee growers take good care of the forest, since their livelihood depends on it. At the same time, we grew macadamia trees, which by themselves create evergreen forest, last over 100 years, and the produce can be harvested after 9 years. But the economic forest requires big and long-term investment, so I don't put the people at risk. So I went to my friends and sought the cooperation of several prominent Thai and Japanese organizations. Mitsui Thailand, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking, the Crown Property, Siam Commercial Bank, the Urchukiet Company Limited, and the Bank of Asia then. Together we create a social enterprise. The Novelty Company, with the articles of the associated, stated that after the loans are paid back, profits shall be used for social development in Doi Tung. Novelty Company has created jobs for thousands of people and lifted the people out of the survival stage. The novelty was a phenomenon that was over 20 years ago. The term CSR, or social enterprise, was still unheard of, and the concepts of social profit and not financial profit were never thought of. Here again, the forestry workers move up another level. It is how we cultivate our people. We were trained by Thai, they were trained by Thai as well as foreign experts from Kona, Hawaii, and Australia to tend coffee and macadamia trees, high-value crops, not indigenous to Doi Tung area. Later, they were also taught how to handle post-harvest produce, a higher level skill set. Once again, other capacity building processes were put to work. The indirect consequence is once the farmers realize that these economic crops are a lucrative medium and long-term source of income, the forests become well cared for and survive. The first years of Navuti, coffee cherries were sold solely as commodities at the farm gate. Then we started to maximize their value and process them into finished consumer food products, generating additional income and creating additional and better jobs. We now roast our own coffee, multiplying the value of cherry beans tenfold. When we brand and package our coffee, the value increases further, now times 20. The ultimate step of the value chain is coffee sold in the coffee bars, in a cup. Today, through 25 branches of Cafe Doi Tung, we command a price of over $200 per kilogram. The coffee growers nowadays own the trees and manage plantation themselves. With techniques assisted from the project to improve the quality of the products and the productivity of the land. We are in the business of creating social entrepreneurs. At first, we may need to hold their hands, and our job is to empower them to stand on their own feet as soon as possible, and to be able to cope with the external forces as well. At the same time, we started to create more jobs for more groups of people through similar programs that enhance skills. We started other value additional processes through other businesses under the same Doi Tung brand. We now have 4 businesses: food, handicrafts, horticulture, and tourism. But we didn't introduce entirely new skill sets. We explore their existing capabilities and traditional know-how in order to build the future on fertile ground. For example, the Hill tribes of the 6 ethnic groups in Doi Tung have original skills, like the Chinese are good in sewing, the Thai Yai, Thai Lu, Thai Lua ethnic group are good at weaving, and the Hill tribes are good at embroidery. We capitalize on this opportunity to increase their income, and at the same time, we conserve local traditions and their art form, another contribution of sustainability. In the beginning, we provided them with the necessary intermediate technology in order for our business to sustain and stay competitive. Products must be market-driven. That is, they must meet the consumer needs and tastes. So we bring in designers to make sure our products stand out and meet the international standard. We consult business experts to help us introduce the products to the domestic and international markets. They are available in our 9 Doi Tung lifestyle shops in Thailand. And we are well on the way to introducing some of them in international markets. Last year, our partnership with IKEA, the world's largest home furnishing company, has been created to produce ceramic dinnerware to be sold in IKEA Thailand as part of their CSR initiative. IKEA marketing team accidentally discovered Doi Tung and had the opportunity to visit Doi Tung 5 years ago and was impressed with our sustainable alternative development work. They recognize that we share similar philosophy and we focus on people and environment and also sustainability in every process and in the DNA of the organization. Doi Tung recognized the opportunity provided by IKEA in lifting the standard of our cottage industry into the international standard. For IKEA, it is a never-before producer of the products at this micro size. They accepted our designer to apprentice at their Swedish headquarters for 5 months. This collaboration is actually global to local and local to global relationship, lifting our products to the global level and broaden our local people's view on the broader world. Let me show you our fresh out of the oven fashion collection from last month. This was specially designed for the launch of L'Officiel Thailand magazine. This collection was inspired by the handcrafted skill of our artisans. From the hands of the hills and the exotic Western style clothes. The collection was created by our Thai designer with his team, an Indian designer from the University of Art, London, a designer intern from the US, and Thai students from several universities in Thailand. Just take a look I pause for you to take a look at just a second. Not bad, huh? No, from when we started, we started way minus. And now we come to cosmopolitan. Our people are so proud at this matter. That's why I want to show this to you. You would never guess who had a hand in creating these beautiful clothes. The fabric was all made by our Hu tribe weavers. The elderly women spin the yarn. Do I need them? I don't. I can buy the yarn cheaper. But giving these ladies, elderly ladies, waiting for death if they stay at home, you're lengthening their life. They come together. They eat together at lunch and share their lunch together. If you bring your own self, just one dish. If 5 people, 1 dish each. So it's 5 dishes along in the middle and then you share together. You enjoy each other, company, talking, chatting, and angry at each other at times too. That's why I think I have to stay with these people, the elderly women spinning the yarn, the middle-aged women also doing the weaving, while the young women are sewers. The young people, their eyes, their hands are much more not like an old man like me, starting to shake, Now, some of them used to be prostitutes. Others are illiterate. But now, provided with opportunity, they regain dignity and self-esteem, which money cannot buy. This is the real profit of our business. Thank you. Let's go back to the opium growers turned forestry workers once again. Some of them were trained to do the very delicate and artistic work like landscape gardening in our Luang garden, a tropical garden, flower paradise of 5 hectares. And today, some of the gardens have become entrepreneurs themselves. We microfinance them to set up their own nurseries and sell plants to tourists and also to our gardens. Outsourcing. This landscape garden serves as a famous tourist destination in the north of Thailand. Every year, almost 1 million visitors come to Doi Tung to see the gardens, the royal villa of the king's mother. Other tourists and service businesses follow suit. A small lodge, restaurants, and souvenir shops owned by the local people. We run our business as a social enterprise and have been financially self-reliant since the year 2000. Our income reached $15 million the year 2011. And where does the profit go? It goes to salary, wages of 1,700 employees on our payroll, to cover the project's operating costs also. Then it goes back to the people and the environment. As an example, one of our annual healthcare programs is to undertake cataract operations to enable the almost blind to help themselves. The mobile dental care unit provides treatment and prevention for all the villages in Doi Tung and the adjacent areas. Another example, we spend the money on environmental protection programs such as waste management, forest fire prevention, and developing irrigation system. Not like your irrigation. Look at our irrigation. Another world. So now, you see, I want you to see another world. A lot of you haven't seen it, so see it now. Most important of all, the profit goes back to cultivating people, especially the next generation. There are 8 schools in the project, are providing services for 29 villages. We introduced and work with the Ministry of Education to integrate new teaching methods of child-centered learning, like Montessori. We currently employ extra 17 teachers for 8 schools to achieve effective ratio of teacher and students. We add extracurricular activities like art and photography projects to build lifelong cognitive development. We set up vocational training programs for secondary students, providing them with practical tools to venture out into the real world. And along with the textbook and practical knowledge, we also foster cultural understanding and a sense of responsibility for their village, their community, and the surrounding nature. As our main key performance indicator, we always ask, what do the people get out of it? For example, if the university invests the money so much so, what do the people get out of it? How do you measure that? You have to measure that the students go out, what do they gain from going to work? How much salary? Or 3rd year at university, the people are queuing up for your students or not? This is one of the KPI. But let's take a look at Doi Tung 24 years ago again. Today, the natural environment has been revived. They do not need 7-Eleven nor supermarket. Everything they need for survival can be found in their backyards, rice fields, and the forest. The people have taken on a sense of ownership of the forest and take good care of nature because they know that they need to rely on it for their livelihood. Within 20 years, we were able to increase the people's income tenfold. In 1995, the income of Doi Tung people surpassed the poverty line of the city of like Bangkok. This is a testament to improvement in their economic well-being. More and more children have access to higher education. Many have graduated from universities, and they are prepared to take the challenge when the Ma Pha Lung Foundation plans to transfer the Doi Tung Development Project to the local community by the year 2017. Realizing the issue of poverty is not unique only for Doi Tung. We have expanded our development projects to other areas in Thailand and abroad. We now have 2 reforestation projects in the border area adjacent to Doi Tung, covering another 33 villages. We also partner with other foundations to work in 10 provinces across Thailand to alleviate poverty. We have extended our Doi Tung model in 3 other countries: Doi Tung 2 in Myanmar, Doi Tung 3 in Afghanistan, Doi Tung 4 in Indonesia. Every time we work in different locations, we have created new knowledge. Still, we have to get the commitment from all stakeholders. We always learn new things from people at new sites and design the approach and techniques differently to fit their specific needs. But the principles are always the same. We are to help people holistically so they can help themselves. We started our first project in Myanmar at the request of the Myanmar government from the year 2002 to 5. Crossed the border from Doi Tung to Yongkha area in Myanmar's southern Shan state. We assisted over 60,000 ethnic minorities to solve their immediate health problems, including TB, malaria, scabies, in order to earn their trust. Actually, I got their trust. You know why? Because it got scaby, very itchy all over. So I used all the ointments in Thailand. I gained the trust from them because they trust the ointment, not me. Don't forget it, okay? Now, in addition, we work with the local people to dig 30-kilometer irrigation canal in 10 days, which was, actually I spent $6,250 only. 30 kilometers long, and in 10 days. But I won't explain to you. If you want to know, come to me later. Now, that canal, which was able to provide enough water for the community to grow sustenance and economic crops 3 times a year, guaranteeing their food security. To help with the community's education, we built a school of 500 children, and with local manpower and raw materials, and teaching the Myanmar curriculum. A year ago, we started a project with the livestock breeding and veterinary department of the government of Myanmar in Yanashong Township, which is one of the least developed areas in the dry zone in Myanmar. Our activities improve the livelihood of the local community, including anti-venom serum bank establishment, because a lot of snakes and a lot of people die each year. Water resource development, paraveterinary training and services, a goat bank project without any building, and biogas development. Our project in northern Afghanistan, we call it the A4 Sheep Bank. But that project, actually I started, the first time I went, the British government paid me to speak at Kabul, the year 2002, where President Karzai came to open the drug conference, the first drug conference. It took me 2 days to go from here to Kabul, the year 2002. And since then, I've been working in Zabul, Ghazni, Kandahar, and Helmand with the USAID, with the US NGO. And later on, they asked us to move up to the north, Afghanistan. So now we work since the year 2006, we work in Masai Sharif, in Balkh province. This is our 6th year already. And in the process of being handed over to the local community to take the ownership. After 6 years, we turn them over to them. And we work with them. We hardly have any Thai there. We started when we Thai there. And eventually we built the community to look after themselves. At the moment, we sent one lady there 3 days ago. The A4 Sheep Bank project trains sons and relatives of local sheep owners to operate mobile veterinary units, treating over 25,000 livestock across 1,500 square kilometers of Afghan desert. Come with me. 5 p.m., 50.5 Celsius. You can fry egg on the bonnet of the car. Come and try. Now, in return to this veterinarian service, the sheep owners give back a certain amount of their female sheep offsprings back to the project so that I can give this sheep to other families that is going to be risk in growing opium to come up from growing to raise sheep. So these sheep offspring then, loan to the poorest of the poor again. Over 5 years, this project has generated increased economic impact of about $2 million from reducing mortality rates and increasing offsprings and providing sheep loans. From the improved sheep byproducts, the community is also able to participate in value-adding activities because each sheep has 2 kilos of wool. So the ladies cannot come out, so we send the wool, share it, and send the wool to the house. Then they can do the carding and spinning the yarn. Once they spin the yarn, we give them the looms, and they can do, Afghanistan is part of what? Persia. What is the most precious in Persia, if not carpet and rugs? So that wool yarn, then the ladies don't have to come out. We get the looms in there, and the bicycle wheel, appropriate technology because they have no electricity. So we can have the wool processing and yarn spinning for the women working at home. In Aceh, Indonesia, one of the quick hit activities we started for the Lam Tabah community, Aceh Bazar district, in the year 2007, was a comprehensive community-based malaria management project which successfully eliminated malaria in the area of 4,717 people. This initially, now known as the Lam Tabah model, has been referred. Want me to stop talking? Well, you have to obey her, otherwise she's going to. Thank you, lady. Now, we actually work on never before have they been able to do it, the malaria, the whole village, and now it's even 5 years now, 4 or 5 years now, it's still going on, and then no malaria at all. So the WHO, American Red Cross, UNICEF came from Jakarta to come and see how we did it. And they asked us to go and work in Papua New Guinea. I said, come on, why don't you learn from us, and do it yourself? So I'm not going to go all over the world. learn from us and then adapt to it. Anyway, from 4,717 people, now it's become a project for 4.2 million people, the whole of Aceh. Look at these barren hills. Let's go back to Doi Tung just 24 years ago again. Take a look. These barren mountains, just like Doi Tung 22 years ago. You thought that it's Doi Tung, right? They are like photos from the bygone era. Let me surprise you. They were taken only 2 weeks ago in Myanmar, and only 2 hours drive from Doi Tung, from Thailand. Most likely, this will be our next project. So now that I have your attention, I simply would like to ask you to lend me 1 ear for a few examples of putting USR into action. I hope by this time you understand the real problems that a major part of this world is facing. Doi Tung Way is education on the ground. We have accumulated so much knowledge that we are now a living university with different campuses and departments, with knowledge evolving, sparring up, and improving at all times. This is dynamic education, growing with situation and time. Here we study reality and not case studies. Each year, there are hundreds of study tours from public and private sectors, NGOs and academia, national and international, who visit Doi Tung to learn practical knowledge and gain hands-on experience. Right here now, the classrooms are air-conditioned, located in spacious multi-story buildings, whereas our Doi Tung classrooms are on the ground with lecturers who are practitioners as well as beneficiaries. They are the ones who have walked the walk and are entitled, therefore, to talk the talk. See, I walk the walk. That's why today I talk the talk to you. If I don't walk the walk, how the heck can I talk the talk? No experience. Now, well, so much so for that. Last September, we received a group of 16 juniors and seniors from this university, Mahidol International Program, in a 1-month internship program with us. It was a great opportunity for them to apply their textbook knowledge with local wisdom and on-the-ground experience from the real practitioners in the field to produce business plans to support existing development activities. Part of that grade came from the practitioners. They had worked alongside for 1 month. Professor give only 40%, 30% from the local people and 30% from our people. And she's sitting here, one of your dean, sitting right here, so you can ask her later. At the moment, there are several organizations and programs in universities which provide an arena for students to interact with the real world. One example is the Student in Free Enterprise, or SIFE worldwide. I don't know whether you know them or not. Student in Free Enterprise. Nearly 2 years ago, I was requested to be chairman of SIFE Thailand. Since its mission corresponds to my lifelong work, and I see the opportunity to put together the worlds of education, business, and the rural development, so I accepted the position. The challenges I came across, probably typical to other students' programs, is that many of the projects were short-lived and low impact. SIFE students were simply sales agents, selling ideas to the local people based on what they thought was good. They, the students, not the local community. But without community engagement, a thorough understanding of the people's needs, the students' determination sadly went to waste because the project was just not sustainable. So I started by driving change in the approach. We organized a sensitivity training for participating students and advisors, like you people, or you appointed somebody else, taking them to rural areas in Thailand to get their hands and feet dirty. Some of them stayed in tents, some slept on the temple's floor. What do you think the students got from trading air-conditioned classrooms and textbooks for spending a few days at the villages? And with the guidance of the expert from Doi Tung, we trained them on the site to listen and learn from the people, to observe and look at the implication of every tiny detail, and to foster opinion exchanges between them and local scholars. Now let's answer why 2/3 of the world population are still trapped in the vicious cycle of illness, poverty, and ignorance. Does that mean that university graduates are products of a failing or an incomplete system? How come this academic abundance is not being translated into a world where poverty is history? Are we as society underusing, or worse, misusing our now abundant knowledge bank? Universities, with its wealth of knowledge and promising people, must redefine their accountabilities. Most important of all, they are accountable to society to produce and deliver quality individuals with well-defined set of ethics and progressive mindset, ready to serve the greater community, to serve the real needs of the people. The values and social status sought after also have to be redefined. Can the prominent people at the top of the pyramid stand firmly when the base of the pyramid is shaking? Are we witnessing a tumbling of the pyramid bit by bit in every continent? Students must learn not only with their head, but with their heart as well. We need graduates who have knowledge beyond textbooks, who understand the complexities of the developing world, who recognize their duty not to contribute further to the problems of today, and more importantly, who are capable of utilizing their knowledge and capacity to bring about social change. We are no longer in the world where we can afford to make mistakes any further. There is a pressing need for all of us to change, and for the future will be otherwise the future will be a very difficult place to live in. I believe that universities are the center of these changes. Effective university social responsibility programs can lead to change mindsets of students, who in turn will make positive contributions on the economic, social, and environmental aspects. Ladies and gentlemen, the first step is to join your hands with your colleagues. And students come out from the classroom to see, to hear, and to feel the reality and actuality. Let's dirty your hands to spin off your knowledge into practical application. The Doi Tung Development Project is one example of learning by doing. Imagine the far and wide impact upon our community we can create if the same practical approach is applied to university education. From my lifetime experience of working with all walks of life, I deeply, truly believe that we need to walk this long, rough road to see the real world. Even they are worlds away from yours, to be able to restore our society and environment. Choose to make the difference in this world. and join our path. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mom Lachwong Disnadda Diskul, for sharing your valuable experience and knowledge. So please remain on the stage, and I would like to invite His Excellency Mr. Kasem Wattanachai, President Du Hee Lee, and President Lashda Ashat Nawin for group photo. Please. And please remain seated. We will have to make some further announcement. Now I would like to invite the APAIE Board of Directors, MU Vice President, to join for group photo. For all delegates, I would like to draw your attention to the following information which you need to hear for this presentation. Morning and afternoon coffee break will be served on the second and third floor of this building. And for the lunch, it's also served on second and third floor of this building and also at the Royal Medical College Auditorium. The vegetarian and halal food for those that need it will be arranged on the third floor of this building. The first 7 presentation sessions are scheduled to start at 1100 hours. The welcoming banquet is tonight at the Royal Navy Convention Hall at 1900 hours. The bus will depart in front of this building at 1745 hours. And I would like to encourage all of you to attend. There'll be wonderful food and wonderful presentation and show. Presidential Roundtable meeting point is at the Archway at 10:50 hours. The information desks are located on the first, second, and third floor of this building. Please mark your calendar for the interactive session entitled Internationalization in Higher Education for the Benefit of Mankind. It's on this Friday, April 6th at 900 hours. Please don't forget to fill out your evaluation form and hand it in to student volunteer at the exit door. And the restroom is available on first, second, and third floor of this building. And to this end, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all concerned for your kind presence and cooperation. Please enjoy the rest of the conference and exhibition. Thank you very much.